Girl Take the Lead, the podcast where we reimagine leadership, challenge the status quo, and share the real, raw, and meaningful conversations that break us free from our cycles, find our voice, and lead with intention. And I'm your host, Yo Canny. If you're listening at a moment when the world feels crowded, tense, or less kind than it used to, you're not alone. And this conversation is arriving at exactly the right time. Today's episode isn't about having all the answers or showing up perfectly. It's about choosing humanity, especially in small, everyday moments. I'm so pleased to welcome Vanessa Confessore, a brand marketing and experiential leader with more than 20 years of experience designing unforgettable brand experiences and global activations. She's a girl after my own heart. Beyond her professional work, Vanessa is also a mother of two, a wife to a partner in recovery, and a deeply human storyteller. She's the creator behind Sober Spouse on TikTok and a powerful voice on LinkedIn, where she's built community not through polish or performance, but through honesty, vulnerability, and kindness. And that's how I met her. In this conversation, Vanessa shares a deeply personal moment on an airplane that sparked a viral post and an even larger conversation about compassion, empathy, and the ripple effect of how we treat each other. In today's episode, we explore kindness as leadership choice, when authenticity creates stronger connection than perfection, friendship as one of the most powerful forms of self-care, and what it looks like to release pressure and hold onto quiet, sustaining joy. This is a grounded, affirming, and deeply human conversation, one that meets you where you are and gently invites you forward. Let's jump in. Here you go. Oh, Vanessa, welcome to Girl Take the Lead. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to have this conversation with
I'm
you.
so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's start. If you would introduce yourself, please, to our listeners and viewers, that would be awesome.
Of course, I'm Vanessa Confessore. I'm the head of brand marketing and experiential at an ad tech firm by day. And in real life, I'm the creator behind Sober Spouse on TikTok. I'm Vanessa Confessore on LinkedIn. But then beyond that, I'm a mom of two amazing boys, a wife to a husband in recovery. And I just love everything about experiences and creating magic for people.
Yeah. Spoken like a true marketer.
Yeah.
So glad to have another one on the show. I love
Thank
it when the
you.
marketers come on. I know that we've spoken a little bit about your journey towards personal branding, but would you talk a little bit more about that with our audience?
Of course. So I made a commitment to myself about 6 months ago that it was time to lean into LinkedIn a little bit and figure out this whole world. So I made a commitment to start posting every single day to really re-engage my community. At the same time, I created a TikTok, and my handle there is Sober Spouse. And this kind of was my little corner of the internet where I could process what it was like to live alongside recovery. My husband is on a recovery journey. Um, at that point of my life, I felt like there was no resources out there of happy endings or couples that survived. And that was my hope for us. And, knock on
Mhm.
wood, here we are 4 years later, and life is so beautiful. So that's kind of how my little corner of the internet started. But over time, it's become something bigger, a space for storytelling, connection, and just helping people feel seen. And what's really interesting is that, people think of LinkedIn as a professional platform. And my posts that do the best, or the places that I've connected with people the best, is when the human side comes out.
Yeah.
There's just this, people are craving realness. And the more human I show up online, the stronger my community has become. So it's been really fun.
Yeah. And I know that you do see connectedness and human connectedness when it comes to AI. And um, can you tell us a little bit too about your efforts in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. I think by day in my job in ad tech, we talk about and use AI every single day, whether it's to create efficiencies in our business. But then also as a mom, I find myself going to ChatGPT to ask questions about potty training and everything else. One of the coolest things that's happened with AI is recently a dear friend of mine who's in the same boat with two kids has dove headfirst into AI and her light bulb went off and she called me one day and said, "We can help so many people between what you love and create in communities and what I know about AI. Let's do this." So we started AI Moms. You can find us at aimoms.ai, and we run boot camps where we help moms just take some of that mental load off and leverage the tools and different processes that we can put into AI to help us work smarter and make more time and space for the people we love. We have a boot camp coming up in January, and the bigger part of it is the community that we hope to create around it and bring the realness and the connection into this very virtual AI world we live in.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your world is just expanding enormously with all kinds of friends. And what are you learning there?
Gosh, my friendships through all of the phases of my life. So, my parents went through a really wild divorce when I was young. So, my friends were my anchor, and their parents became my home. And then, through other phases of my life, my going through the addiction journey with my husband, and now on the other side in sobriety, my friendships are the biggest constant in my life. I have friends that I've known for 25, 30 years, and the topics of conversations have shifted from where are we going out to potty training and like trying to coordinate 87 calendars. But there's really something sacred about the people who know you for who you are and they still choose to be connected to you and be a part of you. There's no filter, there's no performance, just like real love. And so I really believe now in my journey to 40 that friendships are really like the best form of self-care.
Oh, that's such a good way to say it too. They're such a gift. I,
100%.
I got when I get together with one of my friends, I'll just go, oh, I
Yes.
know
Your
it's
cup, you can just feel the cup filling
yeah,
up.
exactly. Exactly. Well, you and I connected because I saw a post that you did on LinkedIn and it
Yeah.
warmed my heart. Um, I think I'd mentioned to you that I've been in recovery for 25 years for food addiction and yeah, staying as abstinent as I can.
Yeah.
Um, and your point, I think we need to tell our listeners about that post. So can you kind of put it together for us?
Yeah, of course. So that post came from a very raw, vulnerable moment. I was flying home from celebrating a friend's 40th birthday in Florida. We had planned this weekend for so long. It was such a beautiful weekend. I changed my flight to get home to my kids a little bit earlier. So because I had changed my flight, there was only middle seats left. So I boarded the plane, and as one does, you kind of scope out the situation. And I made eye contact with the gentleman sitting in the window seat of my row, and I could see him visibly kind of sigh or hold his breath, maybe in
Mhm.
hopes that it wasn't me that was going to sit next to him. Now, I don't consider myself necessarily a former fat girl, but I am on this journey. I've lost about 60 pounds. And so there's a lot of kind of mental stuff that comes with changing shapes and sizes. And so you start to think it's about you. But generally
Mhm.
positive person, tried to push that out. I go into my seat and I sit down and I hear the ugh come from him. Now, because we're all within inches of each other, I looked over and I could see his text said, ugh, huge woman just sat down next to me. Ugh. And it broke my heart. It just hit me in such a way that I remember picking the middle seat, and of course, nobody wants the middle seat, no matter what size you are, but thinking, I don't need a seatbelt extender anymore. I think I'll be okay in the middle seat. Um, and in a second, that was kind of like taken
Yeah.
away from me. And instantly the tears came. And the first thing I did was send my husband a text. And because he has so many tools now in his recovery, he instantly validated me and my feelings, told me I was beautiful and that I would be home
Mhm.
to wonderful people around me in no time, just stay focused and breathe. The New Yorker in me wanted to give him a piece of my mind, but I did want to get home to my kids and I didn't want to be somebody else's viral TikTok moment. So I kept my composure.
Mhm.
And I posted on LinkedIn and, I did some thinking and I thought to myself, there's people come from all over and people are experiencing different things. You never know what it took for somebody to get on that plane that day, whether they were going, you don't know where they were going to or coming from or what they're dealing with. And a little bit of kindness and compassion could go a long way. Even if he was frustrated with having to sit next to a larger woman, if he had turned to me and said, "How are you? Have a good flight," or just scooched over or whatever it is. But, um, I really just hoped that there could be some lemonade that was made out of this horrible situation that I was put in. And some of the responses online were, well, you shouldn't have been reading his text, or that's on you, or whatever it was. But at the same time, I believe that things happen for a reason, and there was a reason my eyes glanced there when they did. And on the other side of it now, I've made this giant pot of lemonade. I'm sitting here talking to you, which never would have happened, which is amazing. I found out today that this story got picked up by the New York Post. And there's just this message of be kind and be thoughtful kind of emanating through my universe right now. And that's the best thing that could have happened.
I know when we first talked and it was just like this explosion, you hit the core for so many, many people.
Yeah.
But I remember talking with you and I was saying, maybe we can step back a moment too and look at why is it that we're packed in to these airplanes?
Yeah.
Because I've, flown a couple times this year and I'm thinking, I'm sitting there and I had the I get competitive to get the aisle seat,
Yeah.
right? And this aisle seat is mine. Um, but I just sort of want to go, what's happening? Like, why are there less flights? Why, and of course it's complicated. And I know that there are all kinds of issues right now, but part of it is too that I remember with my daughters, and we would go shopping and they wouldn't find an outfit in the store that we were shopping in, but we would find an outfit in the next store. And I would say to them, sometimes we're not shopping in the right store.
Yeah.
And when it comes to airplanes and the way that we're packed in, it's really not about making us comfortable or having a great experience. It's right. The last thing that's on their mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so much bigger than us in a lot of ways, but yet the guy next to the window took it personally and it was all about his comfort.
Right. Yeah, I think that if there was just this ounce of we're all in this together, like I'm uncomfortable too, or,
Right.
just being human about it, which seems to be the theme that keeps coming up in my life. But like just to understand that we're all here. We all paid for the seat. We all are trying to get somewhere that we're going, or we're all coming from somewhere, but we're in this together. There's no
Yeah.
reason for us to be fighting over this, or you create the energy around you. So
Yeah.
I don't understand the mindset it's about putting that kind of energy out when it's just as easy to say to text, we're taking off,
Yeah.
love you, or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
um
Well, and
yeah.
the kindness is what you're focusing on, which I think, we get so much back from that when we do that, when we give that service, when we give that smile or, oh gosh, I totally understand in a moment.
Yeah. I
Or
have a friend who
even,
talks,
yeah, I
sorry.
was going to say, even giving space to the people who don't travel well, who don't want to, and I mean, I've sat next to some people where I've really wondered, are they going to hurt me? Because
Right.
they're very uncomfortable. Um, but giving them space and, oh man, I think
It's
it is.
compassion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who talks about the ripple effect. And
Mhm.
it's just this idea that you have every single action that we take during the day, you have no idea how far that ripple can go, right? Like
Yeah.
you think just saying, hey, nice sneakers to somebody is like a quick thing in passing, maybe, but you don't know that that person saved up a lot of money for those sneakers or their mom gave them to them as a special birthday. You never know. And these things that are seemingly small have such a larger effect when you really think of it as a ripple, right? Of a
Yeah.
pebble in a
Yeah.
lake and how far that ripple can go.
Yeah.
Because when somebody gives you a compliment, you perk up a little bit, you instantly feel good. And then without even thinking it, you pay that forward and you enhance that ripple and you get it to go further because then that person feels good and then the
Yeah.
kindness is happening everywhere. So yeah, it's crazy.
Is that kind of your theme for us going into 2026? I know we're recording before the new year, and hopefully we'll get this on in the new year early. But is that kind of what you would wish for all of us to like be more intentional, perhaps, with our kindness?
Definitely. My thoughts around this originally were around just holding on to joy. Not necessarily the big, like performative kind. It's not always about grand gestures and big things, right? Like that
Mhm.
little pebble in the lake is putting a big ripple effect out there too. So those kind of quiet daily things that are
Mhm.
bringing joy into your life, do those because without even knowing it, you're bringing joy into other people's life. So,
Yeah.
trying to enter 2026 with less pressure, more joy, because when you feel good, you do good and it
Yeah.
multiplies.
Well, I can just tell you, Vanessa, that if you sat next to me on an airplane, we would have so much fun.
I think so.
We would be talking forever.
Definitely.
Definitely. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners and our viewers before we close our episode?
My only kind of little nugget is just do it. Just whatever you're
Mm,
thinking, whatever you're feeling, share it. Not everything has to be polished and perfect. And if you have a thought, put it on LinkedIn. That's not your place. Like start a TikTok. It takes one video to end up on a podcast, or it takes one moment in time. And humans are craving connection. And the more digital our worlds get, I think the more and more relevant connections are going to be. So like, what are you scared of? Do it.
yeah.
Do it. Just do it.
Vanessa, I hope that as you do more and more things, which I'm so confident you will, you'll come back on the show
Thank
and
you.
you'll
I'd love to be back.
definitely following you. So if I see some more posts come up, I'm like, time for you to
Great.
come back on the show,
I hope
Vanessa.
so.
Oh, well, I ask all my guests, what would you tell your 20 something self today?
I thought about this one a lot, and I think I would tell her, you need to relax. The plan doesn't have to go as it was planned to be beautiful. I tell her to stop trying to be who she thinks everyone else wants her to be because the second that you start being yourself, everything is easier. And the
Mm.
only other thing is like buy the fancy purse. You'll always make more money. You love purses. So I would validate that that's an okay thing to do.
Oh, a girl after my own
Yeah.
heart. Definitely.
Yeah.
And the last question is, I know you got a chance to go to the store. Which card or gift spoke to you?
So I really like the be gentle with yourself card.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that phrase has kind of popped up in my life everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
parenting and work and recovery and friendships. And it's just a really good reminder that sometimes like quiet is good and just enough is just enough and just keep going.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I will definitely get that one to you. And just not just thank you for coming on the show, but just for your vulnerability. I really get that. And your commitment to authenticity. And I think those are two values that will drive you a long way. And I just love talking to marketers and saying, you go, girl, just keep
Yeah.
going.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's this type of community and connectedness that kind of reminds me that it's worth putting yourself out there. It's worth crying on the internet because it's going to help somebody. So
Yeah,
thank you.
definitely. Oh, thanks, Vanessa. My sincere thanks to Vanessa for joining us with such honesty, courage, and generosity, and for reminding us that leadership often shows up in the smallest, most human moments. Vanessa's story, from living alongside recovery to building community through vulnerability to choosing kindness in a moment of hurt, reminds us that we don't need to do more or be louder to make an impact. Sometimes we just need to be more human. Here are three takeaways to carry with you. One, kindness is not small, it creates ripples far beyond the moment. Two, authenticity builds connection faster than perfection ever could. And three, when we release pressure and choose joy, we don't just feel better, we do better. If Vanessa's story resonated with you and you'd like to connect with her, check our show notes for all of her information. As always, thank you for listening, for sharing these conversations with me, and for being part of a community that values intention, courage, and heart centered leadership. Coming up next on Girl Take the Lead, I'll be joined by Lynn Harris, a culture shifting producer, award winning journalist, an author whose work sits at the intersection of humor, leadership, and social change. Lynn is the founder and CEO of Gold Comedy, a comedy store, professional network, and content studio where women and non-binary creators grow their comedy careers, build community, and use humor as a tool for visibility, influence, and impact. Until then, take a breath, be gentle with yourself, and remember, we really are all in it together. Talk soon. Bye.